Welcome to Practically Tactical on Target, brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. Practically Tactical on Target is a show dedicated to sharing with you some of the best products or services in the firearms industry. Don't forget to listen to the Practically Tactical show here on the Firearms Radio Network as well. New episodes drop every Sunday at noon Central Standard Time and feature some of the most well-known figures in the firearms industry. On this episode, we're talking with Todd from Strike Hard Gear. If you haven't heard of Strike Hard Gear, you're going to want to, especially if you're an Eastern Bloc guy. So, Todd, thanks for coming on today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Nick. This is awesome.
No, and for all those that our listeners know, obviously this show started on YouTube, and that's where we kind of have our little home at while we're working on the podcast. But, man, Strike Hard Gear is, if you're an AK guy, you have Strike Hard Gear, especially on YouTube. And I'll tell you what, there are tons of awesome videos on your product, especially the Haas USMC, who's been a guest on our show. Everybody just raves about your gear.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You know, and it's really awesome that the community has found me and picked up on it. It's really been helpful. It really helps me compete with the big guys when I got this grassroots effort working for me.
Yeah, no, you got I've not found of one video that does not just rave about your gear. So, but kind of moving into this, kind of before we talk about some specific gear, how did Strike Hard Gear come about? What when you were little, did you grow up and want to make AK chest rigs, or did you stumble in it by accident?
No, actually, I got a picture from me when I was little. I used to mail order in surplus stuff. So I got a picture of me holding my Daisy Red Ryder BB gun, my plastic Army helmet, and my World War II cartridge belt. I was ready for action. After that, you know, by the time I was 17, I was able to join the Army and get the real stuff and get paid to carry it all around. After about 4 years of that, being airborne infantry, I thought I better give it out in a civilian world and give it a try. About 3 years ago, I was going through my kit, and I had an SKS I've had quite a while, and I thought, you know, I need to bring some new life to this thing. And I bought some duckbill magazines from Tasco. I'm sure everybody's seen these things. You either kind of love them or you kind of hate them. And I bought a couple of them, and it kind of dawned on me real fast is there's no good pouch to carry these. You either have to put them in some kind of shoulder bag or something. And I used my Google Foo. I looked around, and I kept seeing posts of other people saying, how do you carry these? And a lot of the times there was another post, well, I took pouch ABC and I cut it up and did this and that. And I thought, you know, there's got to be a better way than that. So what ended up happening, I borrowed my wife's sewing machine, and I started trying to devise my own pouch for it. Well, one thing led to another, and people saw it, and they said, hey, that's pretty cool. Can you make me one? And then I realized, you know, there might be a little bit of a business here. So I started making the SKS pouches, and I quickly realized that all these comm block weapons that have been flooding into the United States over the last 20 years, you know, literally millions of AKs, SKSs, Mosin, Nagants, the big tactical gear makers have pretty much ignored them. You go and, yeah, they might make a piece or two for the AK, but as far as the SKS and the Mosin Nagant, go out there and all you're going to find is the old canvas stuff from China, and that's about it. Or if you're lucky enough, you got some cool Splav rig or something out of Russia. and with that, you know, I realized, hey, maybe I'm onto something, and it's time to bring new life to some of this old gear.
Well, and especially the way the market is now, if you don't have a Mosin, you're not tactical. Let's get that out there. If you don't have a Mosin, you're not tactical.
That's right. That's right. You know, and the Mosin is a great rifle. You know, the ammo is cheap. It reaches out and it touches somebody. And either a lot of people look at it as their primary rifle, or they look at it as, hey, that's my handoff weapon. That's the one if my neighbor needs help or something, I can hand them the Mosin. It doesn't take any training. Hand him the Mosin and a few stripper clips, and, you know, he's good to go for a while.
Yeah. No, and you are 100% correct, especially on, like, the AK. A lot of companies just expect you to, hey, we have our plate carriers or chest rigs that are M16, your standard AR mags, and they just expect you just to use it. And in reality, it might work great for one AK mag, but when you start lining up several next to each other, that's when you really run into issues. And so
Oh yeah,
obviously yours are custom made for AK
yeah,
mags.
yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, the newer Molly gear is made in the 1.5 inch increments, and so the pouch for the AR is 3 inches wide. Well, you know what? The AK magazine with the big, just like here on the SKS magazine, it's got that big fat lip right there. Well, that's almost 1/4 of an inch. So really, the pouches need to be about 3 1/4 inches wide for it to really work. And that's what we've done is enlarge the pouch. Enlarge the pouch, make it taller, make them so that they stack better, and then that way you can get your 4 or 5 rounds or magazines in across and make it fit into a smaller area.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and hit on some products here. So, Strike Guard gear. You make gear specifically for AKs, and then SKSs and Mosins, correct?
Yes, yeah.
And we should say that they're specific to that. Will for the term platform, and it's not just you're not just taking AR stuff and changing it and making it work. You designed it around whatever product it needs to fit, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Like starting with the AK, one of the things that I came out with first was I had a bayonet, AK-47 bayonet, and I thought, God, that'd be kind of cool to carry that on my Molly vest. Wait, there's no way to connect it. So that was another product I came up with right away was a Molly scabbard for the AK bayonet. It's an adapter.
I've never seen anybody make that other than you.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because I'll get requests once in a while saying, "Hey, I saw that cool AK-47 bayonet adapter. Can you make one for my K-bar, or can you make one for this or that?" And depending on my time constraints, oftentimes I will.
Okay. And I should point out too before we get into some more gear, kind of going off there is if somebody is out there says that knows, hey, I need a piece of gear, whatever, you actually have a new product request part of your website where if somebody sees a product that, hey, I think there's a market for this or that, you actually take those requests right off your website.
Yes, I do. Because I this really comes back to a fundamental belief that I have when I started this is I want I guess it comes back from my manufacturing days in that I want the product line to reflect what the people need and not what I think they need, or I'm just one-offing some big company's product and making it fit AK-47. So a lot of the stuff you see is stuff that has been requested and people have said, hey, we like that, keep it coming.
That's awesome. But let's take a look at when the Haas USMC was on the show. He during our gear segment he talked and raved about your AK chest rig. Can you talk about specifically your AK chest rig and what makes it so awesome?
Sure, sure. I got one right here. I don't know if I can do it justice on this little screen. I don't have any magazines right in there right now. But what I've tried to do was design it to be low profile. So it's a little lighter weight, it's a little thinner. Going back to, trying to make gear for the people, by the people, is because really the U.S. military doesn't do a lot with the AK-47 or the com-block weapons. All the other gear makers, they tend to want to cater to what the military needs. Well, what the military needs and what the civilian market needs are, often two different things. And when I went to make the AK-47 chest rig, I looked out there and saw all these big rigs, just huge rigs. They're wide, and they're tall, and they're double thick, and that's great if you have to, you're walking the streets of Iraq at the time, or if you're in Afghanistan. But for the average guy, you don't need all that. So I kind of went the opposite way and tried to make it smaller, low profile. That if you want to put it on and put your coat over the top, you can do that. And that's where people are finding it very comfortable because it is a bit lower profile. The other thing that I've done is because a lot of my customers are bigger dudes, is give it a lot of extra scrappage. So in the case of the waistband, it goes to a full 54 inches, so it'll fit. If you're a skinny guy, you can still wear a coat, and it'll fit over the top. I'm 6'4", so the shoulder straps, they're made to be adjustable in 4 different points, so that you can wear it high, you can wear it low. You can with a quick pull, it's up, or just release the buckles a little bit, it's back down. So if you're like to wear it low around your belly, like a lot of guys do, and then maybe you jump into your four-wheeler, or you jump into your car or something like that, and you want to keep it on, you just can kind of pull it up real quick, and you're good to go. You get out of your vehicle, you can push it back down, and then you're comfortable again. So I try to think about it with the civilian operator in mind.
Okay. And how many mags does that hold?
This one holds 4. And what I've done too is, again, it's hard to see on here, is I do have an add-on shingle that goes on the front of this that's 4 wide. So if you want to make this guy hold 8, you can add that shingle on with malice clips, and now you got one that holds 8. And the nice thing about that shingle is that comes equipped with a shoulder strap and a waist strap on its own. So you can wear it on the front, or if you want to be more modular about it, you can sling the shingle over your shoulder, or pass the shingle to someone else if you want to pass 4 mags over. So it really gives you flexibility in the way you carry your magazines.
Awesome. And that supports 30 and 40 round AK-47, 74, and ZZ-58 mags too, correct?
Oh yeah, yep. They all fit in there rather nicely.
That is awesome. And then those are available in several different types of designs, correct? Colors?
Yeah. Sticking with some of the basics, of course, we have coyote brown, we have OD green, we have black, and multicam. Trick is with some of the newer camouflage patterns is what is going to be popular, what is actually going to sell. I've made a few in Marpat before. It's the issue becomes, at least for me, being a small guy, is I got to be careful on which colors I go into, because at the end of the day they got to sell. I can't have them sitting on my shelves too long.
Yeah. And then kind of hitting on another popular item, really popular item, is the Mosin buttstock. I'm trying to get the correct name of it here. The Mosin buttstock.
Yeah, the buttstock pouch.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Very popular.
Yeah, the Mosin buttstock pouch. I came up with this because I do have an M1 carbine as well, and buttstock pouch, and I thought, why, with the Mosin Nagant being kind of the people's rifle again, wouldn't it be awesome to be able to just grab that thing and being able to have 2 clips with you right away? And with that, as I went from that to actually making one up and concepted this. Nice thing about it, it's rugged, it's tough, people like it. This is actually 3-inch webbing used through here, so it's going to take a lot of beating for that. We use snap enclosure. People have said they like snaps because Velcro is too noisy, so we went with the snap enclosure. And the other thing that I did was, you'll see these 2 grommets here. Is on the Mosin Nagant on the top of the butt plate. There's a screw. You pull that screw out, mount this in, and then drive the screw back in. And what it does is it really holds it in place. So at that point, this isn't going anywhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the problems with a lot of the buttstock pouches out there for like other things, for like the Remingtons and stuff, is sometimes they'll slide forward or slide back, that kind of thing. So with that screw in there, it really retains it, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, especially like the elastic ones, and I mean, this is designed for a Mosin, which I think is great. I mean, on my I have the elastic one, and here's what happens: is I buy a new one every year because the elastic is great because it fits a bunch of different ones. But guess what? What happens after you get it wet after hunting through the snow? They usually got to end up junking them.
Yeah, the elastic wears out. Exactly.
Yeah. And we should mention too that all of your stuff, we're talking Cordura, we're talking, this is not any cheap, flimsy type of stuff here. And that's one of the biggest things that people talk about when they review your products is it is extremely well built and the sewing is extremely well done.
Yeah, what happened was I was doing the sewing myself early on, and after about a year, it got pretty busy, and my wife was complaining because she never saw me, come out of the basement, and I got pretty far behind on the work, and I ended up having to find a production house that would help me out. But the thing is, a lot of those places they want to do huge runs, thousands and thousands of pieces before they'll really look at you. Well, I found a small specialty house that'll do small runs, and they are a DoD contractor. In fact, they do quite a bit of work for like the Marine Corps and the Navy SEAL community on special one-off pieces. So I was able to hook them in. They liked me. They liked what I was doing, and I use them now for a lot of the production.
Okay, awesome. What's another big seller of yours that you have?
Let me take a peek in the pile here. Both for the Mosin Nagant and for the SKS, I do offer a bandolier. They're very. This one's for the SKS. They're very similar. This one has 5 pockets. It holds 10 stripper clips. People tend to stuff more in there. Sometimes they'll get up to 20 of them in there. But what they like is that, again, it's a snap closure on the top. You open it up, and you can't really see it in here, but it's devised with a divider in there, so the stripper clips slide one on each side. And what happens is this strap, the carry strap, actually runs through the whole body underneath. So it's,
oh, wow.
So it's real nice and strong, and it's not it's not going anywhere. We engineered this stuff because we do have a lifetime guarantee on all the equipment, and we sell a lot of it. We get it out there, and tell you what, I hardly get anything back.
That's awesome.
It's built to last. So this bandolier, people like it. They like it with their Mosin Nagant. They like it for their SKS. It's like I mentioned earlier. What better for your Mosin Nagant is being able to like hand it off to somebody and hand off a bandolier full of clips.
Yeah. No, that is really cool. Any other big selling products that people would be interested in?
Yeah, one thing, and this isn't really for a comm block weapon, but it's something I came up with because again I had a need for it, and that was a magazine pouch for the Ruger 1022. I bought a couple of those BX25, the 25 round magazines, and so I made up a pouch for it. It's basically a covered pouch. It's a simple pouch, and what I discovered is that by golly, my Glock 33 magazines fit in there. Yeah. So not only can I go, take it down in the range with my happy sticks, I can also go plinking with my Ruger 1022 and wear the same pouch.
Oh, that's awesome. And again, guys, if you're not familiar with Strike Hard Gear, please go check out strikehardgear.com. Go on YouTube and just search Strike Hard Gear. There's hundreds of videos of fantastic reviews, especially a former guest on the show, big fan of Strike Hard Gear, the Haas USMC, a former Marine, I think with some SWIC stuff, and then big gear guy, and he cannot rave enough about Strike Hard Gear, so check that out. So let's start wrapping it up here, Todd. So again, we have your website, strikehardgear.com. Where else can people find you on the interwebs? You got Facebook page?
Yep, I got a Facebook page, which is Facebook /SH Gear, Strike Hard Gear. You can find me there. You can find I have a YouTube channel. Unlike you, I don't do a lot there. Too busy making gear. I don't have time to be filming it. But I got a bit of a YouTube channel there, and Facebook, YouTube, and of course we're on Twitter as well.
Okay. Well, go check that out, guys. Again, I can't say enough about how highly reviewed product this is, and again, it's really hard as someone who has an AK. It is really hard to find that gear that is specifically made for an AK magazine. Because what happens is if you take a standard M16 carrier and I have like a 6-plate carrier or a 6-mag carrier, you put it in and guess what? They're bumping up against each other, they're rubbing up against each other, and then when you go to pull one out that might be not on the outer edges, you just run into friction and problems. So that's why I really, really like your chest rigs.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Thanks for everything.
Oh, no problem at all. So, again, Todd, thank you for joining us from Strike Hard Gear. I really appreciate you coming on.
Sure. Anytime.
All right. Well, I greatly appreciate you coming on. For our listeners out there, do you know of a company that should be featured on Practically Tactical on Target? If so, email me at nick@firearmsradio.tv email me at nick@firearmsradio.tv with your suggestion. So until next time, guys, thank you for listening to Practically Tactical on Target, brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network.